We are the generation of change.
Presenting Mr. Money!
Send cash and get cash right now from overseas. With international money transfer, it's just a breeze. Receive cash from across Africa at cool rates, and receive cash from other networks across states. You can cross borders at any time with your local Airtel line. So many deals with Airtel Money. It's your time. Mr. Money, he knows it all money. He knows it all. From Canada to Australia to Saudi Arabia, South Africa to America. Get cash in your area. Send and receive money from most countries in Africa with international money transfer. With our global money partners, transact conveniently across borders. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome to the People's President. Thank you for joining us on this exciting reality show where we are looking at excellence within Zambia's young leadership. On the previous episode of the People's President, the three successful candidates had a one-on-one interview with Costa Mwansa on Costa, discussing mining and agriculture. They were bringing forward their initiatives and policies that would put sanity in the mining and agriculture sectors. On tonight's edition of the People's President, the campaign is dropping points. We give each of the three candidates a scenario. This scenario is one that is ideally supposed to put them in bad light. These are scenarios that have been carefully made up and selected by the candidates, who will now have to do a press briefing to address these challenges. My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya, and to begin tonight's edition of the People's President, Mwila Bwalya is a candidate in this edition of the show, and his scenario is that he himself, as Mwila Bwalya, is friends with a person accused of rape. Mwila Bwalya has been aware of this information, has known that his friend is a rapist that raped someone, but decided to conceal this information and didn't bring it forward. This has resulted in the person of interest being acquitted. An investigative journalist from Diamond TV has unearthed this information, and it has resurfaced, causing points to drop for Mwila Bwalya. He has called for a press briefing because he would like to address these issues. Let's see just how well this team will make a comeback.
One nation. Countrymen and women, I come to you with a bruised heart and a deflated ego, with a sad soul and a head hung low. Following an article that aired on Diamond TV revealing the fact that I concealed a rape incident involving my friend, Mr. Francis Zulu, I received a lot of criticism, especially from social media. Additionally, the article revealed the fact that I was supposed to be a witness in this case, but I chose to keep the matter silent, and ultimately led to the acquittal of the suspect. Fellow citizens, I am not here to justify myself, but rather to say the truth. I did not open up, but I never meant to hide anything. My friend Francis Zulu, who happens to be a childhood friend, approached me and asked me to support him by being his witness. I refused because I was not sure at the time whether he did it or not. At that particular time, I was between a rock and a hard place. I only had two options, either to remain silent or to support my friend who was a suspect in that matter. I chose to remain silent. I was motivated by so many factors, including the fact that my friend had no criminal record. This is a friend I've known to mainstream his values, principles, and ethics in all aspects of his life, on the respect for the Republican Constitution, and also on our covenant with God Almighty. Additionally, there was no evidence at the time to prove that my friend, Mr. Francis Zulu, raped Ms. Margaret Ngandu. My silence was in good faith. Today, I am reminded of the truth in Martin Luther King Jr. saying that our lives begin to end the day we remain silent about things that really matter. Countrymen and women, rape is one of the most terrible crimes on earth, and it happens every few minutes. The problem with groups who deal with rape is that they try to educate women about how to defend themselves. What really needs to be done is teaching men not to rape. Go to the source and start there. I am cognizant of the fact that rape is just another word, unless it happens to your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother, your aunt, your niece, your cousin, your best friend, and you. Then it's pain you live with for the rest of your life. My heart is heavy knowing that I've wounded yours through my silence. I can't stop thinking about you all, and I need you to know how much I regret what I did. I take full responsibility. To Miss Margaret Ngandu, the victim, I would like to say that I'm deeply sorry I caused you so much awful pain and heartache. You are truly a wonderful person who deserves to be treated with love and respect. I am not perfect, but at least I'm not fake. The Bible in the book of Luke 17, verse 3 to 4 says, "Pay attention to yourselves. If your brother sins, rebuke him. And if he repents, forgive him. And if he sins against you 7 times in a day and turns to you 7 times, saying, I repent, you must forgive him." My greatest fear was the mistake I made. I hate you, I know, but I will not let my ego stand my way. I will apologize because that's what wrongdoers should do. In my quest to correct my wrong, I have since made arrangements with Miss Margaret Ngandu and my lawyers to find the best way we can appeal the case. It is my fervent hope and prayer that Miss Ngandu, her family, and the country at large will find a place in its heart to forgive me. I thank you.
Mr. President, my name is Andrew Mwansa from Diamond TV. I've taken keen interest in understanding and following up this issue. Our investigation really revealed that you knew the truth about Miss Margaret Ngandu being raped by your childhood friend, Mr. Zulu. You're contesting in this year's elections. Your credibility is at the pinnacle and at the center of your campaigns. Are you telling the truth that you did know the truth about, the rape case that your friend committed to Ms. Ngandu?
Thank you very much for that question, Andrew. Like I admitted in my statement, yes, I knew the truth, but it came at a time when the country was so politically charged, and my opponents wanted to take advantage of the situation that was happening in the country. I had a political career to safeguard. Yes, maybe I was selfish, but the truth still remains that I've come out in the open to admit my wrong. This should send a picture to the people out there that indeed we are electing a person that is not going to conceal. I have made a mistake. I cannot go back to the past and correct it. But in my quest to make sure that I correct my wrong, I've come out in the open so that the country can know that indeed this person made a mistake and he has admitted. Andrew, this which I have done is a bold step which only true leaders can take. I would have concealed and continued to remain silent, but my conscience could not let me. I was having sleepless nights, and that is why I've come out in the open to say the truth. And I will be going to sleep knowing very well that I've come out in the open, and knowing very well that I've come out in the open and the country out there knows the truth. It is a risk to my career, but I know that I've done the right thing, and that is what is important.
Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Contestant or candidate number 1 in the campaign dropping points edition of The People's President. He was accused of knowing the truth behind a rape scenario, and now he had to come out and do a damage control. Are you convinced that he's speaking the truth? Do you think that he handled this scenario well? Has he given you hope that he's an honest president? Well, if you think so, visit www.diamondtvzambia.com and vote. The next scenario or the next situation in the People's President candidate number 2 is that this candidate was working with a non-governmental organization back in the years, was handed over a huge amount of money, which was meant for small-scale farmers. It is believed that this candidate embezzled over 50% of this money and invested in what is now a successful business. This is coming to light now because those small-scale farmers that were intended to benefit from this money are now being evicted from the land that they possess illegally because they couldn't purchase it without the money that was embezzled. They are being given media coverage and are calling for people to know who this monster really is. Is this the truth? Let's find out, as Karisto Mumba is the next candidate in the People's President Damage Control edition of the show.
Dear countrymen and women, it is Emma Godman who said, before we can forgive one another, we have to understand one another. It is therefore incumbent upon me to explain my role in the program that subjected our struggling farmers to blatant injustice. Countrymen and women, as Executive Director of Farmers Intro Fund, I received 4 million kwacha meant for redistribution to our small-scale farmers. I rolled out the program in good faith using the new e-voucher technology, which later developed technical faults with activation and saw many farmers forfeiting their non-activated cards to agro-dealers' offices. But unfortunately, the cards were redeemed in the absence of our farmers, and that is how most of them lost out on their funds. We did institute forensic audits and investigations to determine the extent of this fraud, and our lawyers have the documentation ready. When our lawyers have the documentation ready, we shall forward the case to the courts of law and prosecute whoever was involved to the fullest extent of the law. I also want to take this opportunity to categorically state that I did not steal, misuse, or misallocate the funds. The money was credited to the recipients, but along the way, some people traded on the technical inexperience of our farmers. While this may be the case of clear misrepresentation and the deliberate distortion of facts by those who play adversarial politics, I still take full responsibility of the unintended consequences caused by the failure of the program, which posed very unfortunate impact on the social and economic well-being of our farmers. It saddens me that despite our diligent efforts to drive out corruption, some elements of it still remains in our system. But despite the rising odds, I am still committed to the fight against corruption, because this is not about me, but a fight for all Zambian people, and I'll always fight for you. I submit to all the people in both private and public offices to serve the Zambian people with dignity and honesty. My happiness lies in seeing every Zambian succeeding and being accorded an equal opportunity to have a dignified life. I also want to put it on record that I will never bend my moral principles to allow anyone to steal from the Zambian people. Corruption impedes success, and it is our common enemy that I will ensure never has a place in our civilized society. Through your courtesy, I shall serve, and through my determination and benevolence, I shall restore our lost dignity in this country, Zambia. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, we did carry out an investigation on your case, Mr. President.
Yeah.
We do know for a fact that prior to you beginning to work for this NGO, you didn't have any track record of having any form of businesses. Just when the money hit your account, you seem to be doing you very well in your investments. Explain to us the coincidence of you performing very well in your business and money getting embezzled that is meant for small-scale farmers.
Andrew, I'll tell you something. You know, we try by all means to put our private lives out of the public eye. And the investigations that you did may not be true, because I have always been in the microfinance business, and that is where I've gotten my money from. A lot of the news that is going on, or rather taking round on social media, is perpetrated by those that have been against us. And in fact, they are not against me, they are against the Zambian people, because they want to change how you look at me. I am a well-vested businessman, and I've always been in the microfinance business. But they just want to distort the whole picture, to distort how you look at me, and to drive away the attention from the issues that we should be discussing about. There are issues of corruption. There are issues of debt in this country. All these are things that should be taken around in the social media. And if indeed I was guilty, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I would be in some jail on the Copper Belt. But the fact that no one has taken these cases to the courts of law, our documentation, including our financial records, are very clean. No one has come through to our offices to check our track record regarding finances. And trust me, these are people who just want to drive away the attention of the people of Zambia, because they don't love you. It's not me that they are attacking, it's the Zambian
My
people.
question, Mr. President, again, was prior to you receiving the 4 million kwacha, your microfinance company wasn't doing quite well.
Yes, and that is why...
Explain to us the coincidence of having received the money and you overnight beginning to perform well in your investment.
So I cannot clearly state that it was an overnight thing when indeed my business started doing well. It's been step by step. And what you are telling me right now is news to me, because my business has always been doing good. And that is why I stated that no one has come to check our financial records to ensure that our business has been doing business the right way. We are not doing any shady business or stealing from the NGOs or the money that we are entrusted to give the farmers. That is just news to me. I wouldn't be talking to you if I was guilty. We have adversarial sort of politics. I would be in jail somewhere. But these are just, hearsays that people always make up to drag our name into disrepute.
Mr. President, thank you so much for having me time.
You're welcome.
Caristo Mumba, the second candidate in this edition of The People's President. The previous two candidates made it from the previous round, where they had a one-on-one interview with Costa Mwansa. This one-on-one interview discussing mining and agriculture and how their governments were going to deal with this. Today, they've been given a fictional scenario that could be detrimental to their campaign. What their challenge has been is to do damage control. Are they convincing enough that they deserve your vote as the People's President? If Caristo Mumba has convinced you, go right ahead and visit www.diamondtvzambia.com to vote. The third and final candidate in this edition of The People's President is Given Kapolyo. She has an interesting scenario. A phone call has leaked. The phone call is being published by the media. It is of Given Kapolyo speaking with an alleged government official. She is seeking $3 million. Once given this money, she will drop her campaign and join the winning team. This team in government has decided they don't want to be a part of this. The audio has been leaked and they want to expose Given Kapolyo. She owes the people an answer that have been supporting her, and all that is important to her is $3 million. What does she have to say about this? She gives us this live press briefing.
The past 48 hours have been very difficult for me, my family, my party, and the many Zambians who do believe in me. As many of you are aware, there is an audio that is currently circulating on many social media platforms. In this audio, I am allegedly heard saying the following: yes, I would definitely work with you as long as the $3 million still stands. I will drop everything and work with you. This audio has been released by the government, and they released it to imply that I was pledging in that particular audio that I would accept $3 million and drop everything and begin to work with the government. I usually do not respond to such political propaganda, but it is important that I do address this issue because it is to do with my credibility and integrity. First of all, I want to begin by saying, yes, that is my voice in that particular audio. However, the context in which it has been shared and released into the public is misleading and defamatory. So it is only right that I do tell my side of the story, which is the truth. On the 8th of March this year, after the Women's Day celebration, the Minister of Gender did reach out to me and indicated that a worldwide organization called the International Coalition for Women in Politics was releasing $3 million for the purpose of empowering young women with political skills and financial capability, so we can increase the number of women in meaningful participation in politics. And since I was one of the very few young female politicians, the government wanted to partner with me on this project. I loved the idea. This project was simply amazing. And I understand that simply because I am in opposition does not mean I should oppose to everything, even the good things. I loved the idea also because it spoke to my manifesto. In my manifesto, I speak to gender equality and gender equity. I am a strong believer that young women should not only aspire for marriage, but should also be equipped to aspire for plot one. So, I saw nothing wrong with partnering with the government despite our different political affiliations, and I decided to work with them. This, of course, was after much consultation with my party, as well as various women in different communities, who are here at this press briefing and will testify to this. I agreed to work with the government on this particular project. Countrymen and women, I was ready to work with the government until the minister suggested that this $3 million that this organization had given us was too much money to spend on training these women. And instead, she asked that we only use half the money and then share half of the money, to which I strongly disagreed. The full conversation was that in this conversation, after I was asked to work with the government on this particular project, I agreed to work with them on that particular project because it was good for my people and for the women of this country. In this conversation, you hear me say, as long as the $3 million still stands, I would definitely drop everything and work with you. But if you decide not to use the whole $3 million to invest in the future of women in politics, then I would not be part of it because I refuse to steal from Zambia's future. But the thing is that the government only cut out the little clip that implicates me and did not give out the full conversation, which shows what the conversation was really about. Today, I will release the full conversation so that everyone can hear the truth. The audio is proof that I am a threat to government. It is proof of government's desperation. They have failed to match the solutions that I am offering the Zambian people. They have failed to find any dirt on me, so they are now making up stories. Countrymen and women, they have failed to deliver. While your children are hungry and no medicine in the hospitals, no jobs, the government is wasting time editing voice notes to discredit me. countrymen and women, we should stand together and speak against political propaganda. I would like to assure the people of this great nation that I, Given Kapolio, is a woman of noble character, and I am running to be the people's president, and no amount of money or intimidation will change that. Remember to vote Given Kapolio as the people's president. Thank you so much, Zambia.
Madam President, good evening.
Good evening, thank you.
My name is Andrew Mwanza from Diamond TV.
Yes, Andrew, your question, please.
My question to you, Madam President, is that there are two audios actually that are circulating now on social media. And we've actually been told that you've been given part of the $3 million that you were promised. And actually, that part of the money you've then bought a vehicle. I want you to either distance yourself from this audio that is coming through from the presidential political advisor, who we did have a meeting with, and this is a conversation that we had with him. Allow me to play the audio for you so that the nation can indeed hear.
Sure, Andrew, go ahead.
Confirm that she asked for $3 million, and she certainly came. We had a meeting. She doesn't even want to contest. She doesn't want anything to do with the candidates. I can even confirm that the other day we even gave her a 200 kwacha. She bought some of the items which are even visible. Every eye can see she has a vehicle. And actually I don't even want anything to do with this.
Madam President, would you respond?
Thank you so much, Andrew. First, I do listen to that commentary, and I must, of course, be very quick to distance myself from such defamatory comments from the gentleman in that clip. But, Andrew, since we have played that clip, it is only fair that we play the original clip where they speak that I agreed to this deal in this conversation. Out to me. This is indeed a great opportunity, and I appreciate the acknowledgement. However, I want to be very honest and open with you. First of all, I am very willing to work with you because this is a very important project. A project where we are able to educate young women on politics and then empower them with capital so they can have the financial muscle to run in politics. And so the only part, my minister, where I have a problem with is where you say we shouldn't use the entire money on this project. I'm not comfortable with that part. The entire $3 million should go towards the project that it's intended for. Then I will drop everything and rally behind you and work with you. But if there will be any dubiousness where not all the money will be used, I will not be a part of it. But provided the whole $3 million is going towards the project, I will work with you, I will rally behind you on this project. Thank you so much, Andrew. I think that audio says it all. The agreement that we had was that if all the intended money would go towards that project, I would partner with the government on that particular project, and not that I would drop my campaign and work with the government. Do not be misled, Zambia. This Iron Lady is on your side.
Madam President, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Interesting turn of events, and well, all three candidates were given these scenarios to give us justification on why they should still be voted the people's president. Are you convinced with Muila Walia's story? Are you convinced with Karista Mumba's version of the story? Or are you convinced with Given Kapolio's story? One of these candidates will be eliminated on the next episode of The People's President, and this is based on your votes. So based on the performance of their interview on Costa and this briefing, visit www.diamondtvzambia.com and vote for your People's President. My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya. Thank you for watching.